Next on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, Major League Rugby Championship prop Charlie Abel, General Manager of the Chicago Hounds Will Magie, Power Pundits, John Fitzpatrick, Ben Holden, and Mike Petri, plus the best recap in rugby. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it all started with rugby's best recap. In the Windy City, California Legion lobbyists were trying to get Chicago renamed the Fickle City because Saturday was like a sunsplash SoCal day, while Sunday was April in, well, Chicago, with the requisite monsoon/nor'easter. But Chicago played, get ready for this, swimmingly. And Theo Fourie continued to make it rain as he got past the whitewash for the championship's first try. Meanwhile, the Legion found themselves literally and figuratively swimming upstream in the first half, just trying to get their feet wet. And while Noah Brown started for the Hounds, head coach Chris Latham might have preferred a Noah's Zark. Anywho, despite the sideways blowing rain and less than balmy temps, the up-tempo Great Lake people held California underwater, riding wave after wave and 3 Legion yellow cards to surf to a 32-3 lead in the 60th minute. That gulf proved too wide for the Legion to navigate. It's just riding itself, folks, although they did find their footing in the final 20 minutes to make it interesting. But the Hounds were too strong, and anyone thinking they would capsize were one more for the road, all wet. Final score, perfect Chicago 35, California 17. Whew. And we are once again skipping over Rugby Morning's Coffee Break with John Fitzpatrick for our Power Pundit Prognosticators segment. But we are including John as one of the Power Pundit Prognosticators. John, of course, from the D.C. area, now living in L.A., and an advocate against the overfeeding of squirrels. We also have Mike Petri, the 3-time Rugby World Cup scrum half, color analyst for Major League Rugby, and a huge One Direction fan, and Ben Holden, the golden pipes of the MLR and volunteer crash test dummy. Gentlemen, welcome all. The season is over, but the show ain't. We go year-round, and we still have plenty to talk about in just this last week. So let's get to it. Let's get to our last week's last licks, where we all bring up something that we took away from the weekend, which was the MLR final event. John, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I got to say, valiant effort by the Legion there in the pouring rain to score 2 tries in the second half to make a go of it, but certainly 3 yellows didn't help. But I think what summed up the match to me was really in that final 2 minutes there, Legion had the ball phase after phase, trying to break through that Chicago defense. They were just going side to side, not making any ground. And then the Hounds captain, Lucas Rumble, with the tackle and the jackal to earn the penalty and seal it for the Hounds. I mean, just a tremendous effort for 80 minutes in the pouring rain. All season long. Best season in MLR history for the Hounds.
You know, California, they played so well throughout the season, 5-5. What a story that would have been for them to have knocked off Chicago in the final. And Chicago hadn't lost up to that point. I mean, that would have been pretty special. That would have been awesome. But, look, Chicago's been fantastic all season long. They definitely earned that title. The depth that they had was second to none. I mean, it was incredible, the players that they were able to bring off their bench. And I think all things considered, that's the way this story was written from game one. It was Chicago through and through all the way.
And you're wearing your Hounds green right now. So.
Well, look, Matt, you talk about bandwagons. Growing up in New York, I was still on the Chicago Bulls bandwagons in the 90s. Like, you can't not have cheered for guys like Michael Jordan. Like,
yes, I can. I was a Knicks fan. Yes,
I know. But look, when you're 10 years old, how do you not cheer for the Bulls?
Because they're the devil. I touched upon this last week. I said Alex Corbacero has been the greatest thing about the league this season. His sideline reporting is second to none. And the fact that he stood there in the monsoon. And I got to tell you guys, the rain was blowing sideways, but at least it was 50 degrees. Whereas on Saturday, it was 75 and swimming in Lake Michigan, going for a jog, beautiful blue skies, not a cloud in the sky. Sunday was the polar opposite. It was November. It was crazy. And the balls were helicoptering out of bounds. You know, people at home are like, can these guys kick? I'm sure, you know, but if you're kicking in gale force winds, it's not going to be a spiral. It's going to be a helicopter. So that was one thing. But Corbs, in his custom-made suit, without an umbrella, without a baggie, just got wet and just kept going. I mean, that was impressive. And he was impressive the whole season, culminating Saturday night. He sang with the band.
I like the tip of the cap to Corbs, Matt. I learned so much from that guy, like I have from Mike over the years and the others I've worked with, Will and Colin, you know, the list of guys I've worked with. But what he added to our broadcast was something special this year. And it was an absolute pleasure to work with him for the 13 matches that we did. You know, I was on the bandwagon with Chicago after the DC win at home. I felt like there's no way they're losing. I think that was week 6. They're too deep. They're too talented. They're too focused. They're too driven. They had the 2 losses to New England the previous 2 years. That fueled them, I think, having to lose to learn how to win or to get to winning went into what they were all about. It was part of their mission. And one more thing, I thought, how poetic was it that Chicago brings Hilson back on to kick that kick? I think that was clearly a direct message. I said that on the broadcast to him having the chance last year, hitting it off the left post. They kick the kick, they walk off, they win the match 35-17. So I thought that was a pretty cool moment by Latham and the Hounds to let him do that.
The thing that I took away from this season mostly was the fact that we had a season. We were perilously close to not having a season. We lost 5 teams. Everybody was condemning the 6-team league. I think for what they had to work with, the quality on the pitch was pretty damn good. And you got to salute the owners. Will they all be in the league next year? Will there be changes next year? Let's take a break and come back with our predictions after this.
Mercy me, that could have put him in Ward 4.
I hope not, Bill. That's a maternity ward.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we are back to make some power pundit prognostications. We don't have any games ahead of us in the MLR because we had our final, but now we have the whole offseason to talk about. And why not reflect or think about or predict what's going to happen? Ben, why don't you go first?
Saturday night, I'm not ashamed to say I was in bed at 9:15 in my hotel. I had a long week, wasn't feeling great. Slept till 9:45 the next day. I was primed and ready for Sunday. I
know you kept elbowing me.
Yeah, exactly. And I was flipping around and I caught the PLL on. And New York was playing. They were playing at Hofstra. They were playing Maryland. And I know Paul Rabel set their league up where they played in one place. Just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. Why not a festival type weekend and it cuts down on the travel for the players. They're not traveling. You know, look at California. They traveled all but one match. They were on the road. Bring them together. You could do 3 matches on a Saturday. You could do a noon. You could do a 4. You could do an 8. Have everybody in one place for the weekend. I'm more of a fan of seeing them in one place, do a festival type event throughout the season, if there's a season next year, because I think it is a question mark once again. Again, it's just a thought. I think it worked well for the PLL. I think it helped their growth. Their television deal obviously helped too, but I think more importantly, that was a big part in Rabel and those guys growing that league. And I think it's an idea that I would throw in the hat if given the opportunity.
Yeah, but I think that's an intriguing idea, particularly if the league unfortunately has to go down one more to 5 teams, right? If Anthem is not coming back because the funding from World Rugby is out and you only have 5 teams and you kind of centralize things and maybe you do move it around the country and make it a festival experience weekend. There's some merit to that idea. I also still think the idea of bringing the Anthem back, but saying, hey, let's truly make this the men's Eagles team like they do down in Super Rugby's America. right? Like that just means all the other clubs then will probably have to pull their top 2 or 3 men's Eagles and put it on one squad. But if we really want to have a big push for the 27 World Cup and then on afterwards, why not truly make that anthem team the men's Eagles MLR squad? A lot of stuff to be figured out, but I mean, it's if we're going down to 5 teams, does that mean Canada isn't going to try and do their thing? I mean, we've been beating that drum for the last couple of years about Rugby Canada getting some funding together to try and put together an MLR side. That could be 6, but I'm optimistic about where things are, even though, a little bit of a rainfall in MLR final shouldn't rain on the parade of hopefully what is to come in 2027.
The only thing I would say to that is that what's difficult is that the owners of these teams are in the business of entertainment and the business of winning games within their certain programs. They really have no vested interest, if we're perfectly honest, no vested interest in the national team, right? So aside from someone really stepping up.
That depends on who you talk to.
Well, yes and no. I think everybody is going to say that. If we're honest about it, owners are going to step up and say, yes, part of this is national team development. But when you look at it, it is a very foreign heavy league, right? In terms of players and that's okay, right? In terms of putting out a good product, you want to put out a good product, right? That's something you want to do as a professional league. But the reality is, short of someone stepping up and saying, I'm going to fund this myself and I'm going to make this team completely the United States team, I'm going to buy these other players from these other programs. I don't think that's going to happen, right? I don't see that as something that is really practical. I mean, even look at Anthem, right? It was supposed to be a grassroots sort of program, but, yes, they had a number of Eagles in it, but many of your top Eagles are playing in Chicago. They're playing in Seattle. They're playing in California. They're just spread out across the league. And that's okay because that's what the Prem does. That's what Super Rugby is. All these other leagues, players are spread out to these different regions. I don't really know what the answer is, right? I'm not here to tell you that I have a solution because I don't. I just, as someone that's a huge fan of the game and someone that's a huge fan of this league, I certainly would love to see this thing continue to flourish and continue to prosper. Overall, I mean, the players are fun to watch. The games are entertaining. Teams like New England are putting on good shows. Seattle puts butts in seats at their stadiums. There are people that are doing this right and that are really fully invested in the game and in this league. So I hope that this gets figured out overall. And I really am excited that we can have a really great 2027 season as we build towards those home World Cups. And even if take the World Cups out of it, just having a rugby league in America, I think is a pretty awesome thing. I think that in and of itself, stand alone, take the national team out. I think that's pretty fantastic.
All good points, and I'm a positive half full guy, and I took a lot of positives out of the weekend from seeing different people there that are from potential different ownership groups. And the fact that this league, again, survived after a collective bargaining agreement negotiation, dropping 5 teams. I mean, if they lose 1 or 2 teams in the offseason here, that's nothing for these guys. That's nothing. They've got other people that are already talking about coming in. I think there's at least 6 teams. And Ben, to your points, I would say, if not something like that, make every game an event with curtain raisers from either the WER, the Women's Elite Rugby League, maybe men's clubs get in there, women's clubs get in there, some kids sevens, something. You've got to make it an event each weekend, specifically game day. And if they do that, and I think they're getting it, and also there's a restructuring thing going on with the executive offices in terms of franchise models, which make it 100% easier for teams to come in at this low price point, and groups don't have to buy into league ownership. They're just going to be handling franchises. So the league ownership is divvied up right now amongst the owners that are in, and the franchise model is different. So you don't have to pay those large capital calls and those big fees to get in. So this is the best time for an investor if you think this thing has any shot. And pointing to the 2031 World Cup, that indicates that there's a shot that rugby is going to be here, right? Gentlemen, we're out of time, but we could pick this up, because we got a whole off season to talk. So I appreciate your time coming on. I know that you're all tired from travel, but thank you. We'll be right back with General Manager of the Chicago Hounds, Will Magie, and after him, star prop Charlie Abel. Don't go away. We'll be back.
going in like a wildcat.
Don't miss the critically acclaimed and entertaining The Rugby Odds, featuring big-name talent, exclusive highlights, strong opinions, well-earned insight, and irreverent, if not downright naughty, behavior. And we are back, and we're back with former USA Rugby and Major League Rugby star Will Magie, now the general manager of the Chicago Hounds. Will, welcome back to MLR Weekly.
Thanks for having me, Matt. It's always a pleasure to be on.
You wore a lot of hats this year, but I'm looking at the one that you're wearing right now, and that's the only one that matters.
It's pretty cool to get this on, and don't plan on taking it off for a little bit. So, yeah, it was, I'm sure we'll get into it, but it was an unbelievable weekend and unbelievable season. So, yeah.
You had a difficult offseason, right? I mean, we were worrying. We didn't know if there was going to be a league, and that's tough for somebody like you having to negotiate that, make negotiations when the league is negotiating to exist. And then there was the change in philosophy on the international slots. So just walk me briefly through how you strategized and how it impacted how you chose.
Just trying to be truthful and honest with the guys of where we stood at certain times, whilst keeping those open lines of communication. So we sat down, myself and the coaches, and went through who those guys that were non-negotiable that we wanted to bring back this year. And it turned out being 16 of the guys 16. On the roster. Yeah, 16. Wow. Yeah. So 16, and that was when we knew the new permutations within the league and the salary cap, foreign spots, all of those sort of things. So they were the 16 guys. So we made sure that we had constant communication to those guys, that they were felt valued, they were wanted. We just couldn't physically do anything at the time, right, until we were allowed to by the league. So we made sure that they knew where they stood. And then once we had that sort of core lined up, it was then about going out and trying to find initially the best domestic talent that we felt was available. And that's where we tried to prioritize certainly some positions that we could sort of dominate the market in terms of a domestic slot. We don't really look at it as we try not to look at it as foreign players or domestic players, but we try to build the roster around domestic and foreign positions, which would then allow us to backfill those positions with the same designation of player, which means the rest of the team didn't have to be upset if you're taking in if 1 week you're playing a foreign loose head, but then the next week you want to play a foreign 9, and then you have to switch down the whole makeup of the team. So you would have seen amongst our team, we had 3 domestic loose heads, we had 4 domestic locks, we had pretty much, all foreign back row, but with also then we had 3 domestic back rowers as well in certain positions.
Well, and again, that you had a different language on domestic and international, because previously Canadian players were domestic, and now you're faced with the task of them being international players.
Yeah. And again, each team was in that same boat, right? Obviously a lot of talk from New England about how they had to let go of all their guys, all their Canadian guys, but ultimately they chose to do that in place of New Zealand or, other foreign guys. So
you had to pick up a guy named Brock Webster.
Yeah. I mean, Brock, Lucas, Matt, Mason, our Canadian guys, I don't care if they're from the moon. They're good enough to play. It doesn't matter that they're from Canada. Right. They're good enough to play in this league. They were good enough last year when there were 10 foreign spots. They're certainly good enough this year when there's 7. So yeah, we those 3 guys that you mentioned, Matt, that I mentioned, Lucas, Mason, and Matty O, they were part of that 16 that were just non-negotiable for us. And then once Brock was available, Latho was just licking his lips and said, "We got to get this guy here." So we made it happen.
How much time are you giving yourself to recharge your batteries? Are you taking a break? Are you taking a vacation? And what is the next order of business?
Yeah, so I mean, next order of business is probably get through this week. We've got our, end of season awards party. We've got a lot of awesome press opportunities coming in. We're hoping to do first pitch and shield raise at the White Sox game this weekend. Barstool hit us up on one of their platforms this morning about potentially hosting a victory party at their office here in Chicago, which would be pretty cool. I'm sure the guys would enjoy that.
Oh, you got to do that.
Got to do that. And then later this week on Saturday, me, my wife, and our daughter, we're heading to Italy for a couple of weeks of just
sweet
family time and rest and recuperation. And I'll still have the phone going, but definitely some well-earned family and downtime.
That's awesome, man. I'm really happy for you. We've known each other a while. You've been fighting the fight. You know it better than anybody what it's like in this American rugby space. And now to be at the top of the mountain, I'm very happy for you.
Oh, thank you, mate. It's it's an amazing feeling like that. It felt like we were in a movie on Sunday night with the weather and everything. It was truly incredible. And yeah, the last time I was in a final, it didn't end that well in 2018 on the field and watching Seattle lift the shield. So I sort of vowed to myself if I ever got the opportunity, whether I was playing or in this now again, like just never wanted to feel that way again. So, but yeah, credit to the whole organization. It's been an unbelievable journey. So we can't wait to go again next year.
All right, I'm looking forward to next year. We'll keep our fingers crossed. And on that note, we have to take a break. But thank you to Mr. Will Magie of the Chicago Hounds. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back with Charlie Abel. After this, don't go away.
Scrummy, a new rugby app where you can play fantasy, track fixtures, predict results, and follow player stats. Play Six Nations Fantasy today for your chance to win tickets to the Champions Cup final. It's about to get scrummy.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now.
It's 2026! Different year, new opportunity, and where does that start with? Your health. Health Enhanced Food is here to be able to make sure you get on the right path. We got 17 baking mixes just to be able to help you set you on your proper pathway. Whether you're taking it from the spectrum of ketosis, needing keto diet, gluten-free, or you need something more serious because you're diabetic, have renal failure, it's time to bake yourself into the best form that you ever have been. Head to healthenhancedfoods.com, use code RugbyOdds to be able to get 25% off your first order. And of course, Matt, no, just stop talking. Guys, stop him.
And we are back with Major League Rugby Championship prop for the Chicago Hounds, Charlie Abel.
Ooh.
Charlie, welcome to MLR Weekly, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Charlie, where do we begin? And we only have a short amount of time because your yacht is about to take off with the guys, and you're sailing to Vegas. Yes, I know it's a yacht, and they don't have a sail on a yacht. And you can't get there that way on Vegas, but I think you guys are going to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, we'll try to figure it out anyways.
Love the rock star shades and the
Thank
look.
You, sir.
And you got the medal around your neck, the well-earned medal.
How good.
Crazy. Did you think you were going to go undefeated at like when you were like 7-0?
No. Like I thought we were pretty good, and I thought we could have a real chance and opportunity at it, but no guarantees, especially round 7. I mean, look at our DC game, man. That was tough. We just snuck in some wins, and the boys just backed each other. We just loved it. But I'm not sure if I figured we were going to do it until Sunday night.
Well, to go perfect, and this was 12 games if you count the playoffs, the semifinal and the championship. That's 12 games. That's a real hard thing to do in rugby, especially in a league like this where you got all the travel. You got different venues. I'm looking at California. They had 5 different venues as their home fields. But you guys went down to Nashville for a game. What was that like?
That was unreal. The stadium in Nashville was great, and the atmosphere was nice. The Free Jacks fans are good. They travel too, and so it was unreal.
All right, let's talk about the match itself, the championship match. You guys are from Chicago. I mean, you live in Chicago. You're from Melbourne, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, originally, yeah.
I could live in Melbourne, one of my favorite cities on the planet. And you got to play with the Rebels, or you had some.
I did, yeah.
How cool was that?
Oh, real cool.
Your hometown?
It's kind of like I'm from Melbourne, but not really. I've moved around Australia a lot. I grew up mostly in country New South Wales. So,
technically, I'm just going to, we're
going. But on the facts,
Melbourne.
It's beautiful. Yeah, on the facts, beautiful, 100%.
And you have a big rugby family.
I do, yeah. Yeah, my parents play rugby. My brothers do, yeah.
How much did the rain affect you guys? Or in comparison, how much did it affect California, do you think?
Yeah, it might have affected them a bit with them wanting to play open and fast. I mean, we like to play fast as well, but I think we were okay with it. We were happy with it. We trust our set piece. We trust our scrum. We trust our line out. And we'll just play nice and direct if we have to. Yeah, the line out was tough, man. Line out was tough on Sunday. But, you know, I thought we worked hard up front of the pack. And, yeah. So it wasn't too bad for us, the rain.
Yeah. No, well, you know, you're used to some foul weather out there. I mean, the training in the off season and then in the early start in the season in Chicago. I don't think people get it.
Yeah, we train inside because it's so cold, but it's, you know, you got to love the weather if you're staying up here in Chicago.
If you had to pick one player whose play was much more than you anticipated it being this year, do you have one on your team? Somebody that just came out of nowhere, you think?
Yeah, like if you're talking about a young fellow that come out of nowhere and really, really played well.
Or even a veteran that found their stride?
I'll give you two. I think a veteran guy that I think is real good, and he played really good for us here was Ruben, the half. He was unreal for us this year. And maybe it's just the vibe, the group, or him coming up here and enjoying it. Man, he's played so good. He was good for us.
Is this Father Peter off camera next to you right now?
No, he's not. And then probably Jake Kinnevac. He's a young fella. We've got great back rollers in the squad, and he worked his way. He started the last 2 games of the year. He's unreal. Jake Kinnevac is an unreal young kid.
Man from Alaska.
The big Alaskan. He can play rugby, that kid.
Now, I did ask him what violation he committed to have his hair bleached. He said it was too long of a story. I was like, my flight's not till tomorrow, but he didn't want to go into it. Can you give me any?
I'm not sure what happened there. I think he just did that on his own. Okay. I'm not sure if that really was a violation.
I think he kind of owned up to it being a violation, but maybe, I don't know, who knows? All right, well, Charlie, I really appreciate you taking the time out. I mean, you guys go above and beyond all the time, and it really makes me feel humble, and I appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
It's well earned, man. Well, people don't understand that grind, and to do it 12 times without a blemish is amazing. Amazing accomplishment. Kudos to you.
Thank you,
Charlie Abel. Thanks for coming on MLR Weekly.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Up the Hounds.
All right, I want to also thank our power pundit prognosticators, Mr. Ben Holden, Mike Petri, John Fitzpatrick, and General Manager of the Chicago Hounds, Will Magie, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out the Rugby Odds. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.
Thank you.
Hold on one second.